what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to take cuttings of roses, how to do rose trees, how to bud roses into onto rose trees, how to graft roses. Okay, so grafting, budding, and cuttings. Okay, those are the three things that we're going to learn today. So for cuttings, that's the easiest way of doing cuttings. I mean, doing propagating roses. And I use this as an example. These are cuttings that I made a year ago. And during the summer, they rooted. And I usually start them in containers like this, like 4-inch containers. And then after they root, then I put them into a 1 gallon or a 2 gallon pot. The important thing is to keep whatever media you use. And I usually use potting soil from Ready Grow. If you see I have 15 bags over there from Ready Grow that I bought 2 weeks ago. Just a general potting soil. I don't use anything else. You can use perlite, you can use all kinds of other media, but if you use perlite, you're going to have to water a lot because the water just kind of goes through. I like this media because I just put in the shade of a tree like this. That's my rooting area over there. You can see that I have some shade. I used to have more shade, but 3 trees came down.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't have shade anymore. I used to be like this. Anyway, what I do is I just put them in the shade, partial, you can see filter sun. I have sprinklers that go off about 3 times a week and keeps the soil moist. In the shade, the soil stays moist for a long time. Okay, so to make sure that the soil is wet when I make a cutting, I put my, I'm preparing to do a whole bunch of cuttings, see? So you can see that this tub has water in there. That way I know that everything, the soil is wet all the way through, okay? That's the important thing. If you don't use wet soil, you're not going to have any success. I get upwards of 80-90% in my take. And that's good enough for me, okay? So the other thing I do is, the reason I say it's 80 to 90% is that I take a whole bunch of cuttings and I put them in there. And if some of them don't make it, well, so be it. The whole thing made it. But
so,
you can see,
so that's the same flower, same plant?
yes, this is a rose. This is Baron Privot. It's an old garden rose. Back, it was introduced into commerce in 1841.
Oh.
It's a large cabbage-type flower,
Okay.
very fragrant. It wins for me. I mean, I have so many trophies with it. It's one of my, of all the old garden roses, I love this one.
So it's a mini?
It's an old garden rose. It's kind of a climber.
No, but I meant the size of the rose.
But,
Oh, okay. It's
yeah.
not a mini.
No, it's not a mini.
Okay.
I have a few roses that look, they have the cabbage type. I have one, it's called Mini Eden, that is like this, and it has the cabbage type.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What's
and
the name again, Baldo?
This is Baron Privot.
Perot?
Don't worry about the names, okay?
Okay.
Don't worry about the names. You can look at
I
them
can
later
look
on.
at it, okay.
Yeah. I'm just using this as an example of what I do, okay? Now, when somebody asks me for cuttings, then I can separate this. And what I do is I take a tub of water like this, and I separate them underwater.
Oh.
Because if you just kind of go like this, you end up breaking a whole bunch of roots. But if you do them underwater, then they a lot easier. And then I put them into one gallon pot. So, all of this can go into one gallon. Each one. And I have like, I don't know, probably 10. And see, you can see that one cutting didn't make it. I'm not going to tell anybody. The whole thing made it anyway. In spite of my 90%. Oops. Anyway, so you can see, now, if I want, I can just plant the whole thing in, you know, I'm going to be planting roses every 10 feet, you know, along the fence, and I'm going to use climbing roses. So I'm going to use, and I can use the whole pot, or I can separate them into 100 feet.
Are you going to do all of one species?
No,
or
no, I
divide it all up?
I'm going to use several different varieties. So anyway, so so in order to make sure that you're going to your cuttings are going to take is also make sure that you have very sharp pruners. Okay, these are ARS pruners. I've had them for years and years. They have never been sharpened. They're fantastic tools. So what I do is I take a cutting, and generally you can, my favorite way to take a cutting is you know, I go to the tip, and then I, you know, like I go to where it joins, and then I cut like this. Okay? Now, around here, at the base of this cutting, there's dozens of dormant buds. So I just kind of take a cutting and I put in the soil. Doesn't, you know, what I do is you can see, maybe a couple inches.
You don't use root tone or anything like that?
No, that's busy work. That's expensive stuff.
Yes, it is. I agree totally.
So I kind of go in here, and then I just, and I do this. And now, I can also take cuttings. See the bud right there?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of slant it. I kind of slant the cut right below a bud. So then I put it like that. And then I just go through and I take a whole bunch of cuttings. I can have compound cuttings like this. And again, do as many cuttings as you want in one little pot.
Baldo, is what's rooting, is it the buds that is rooting?
No, the basically once this the area, the xylem, kind of it stays moist, then it starts to gall, to make galls like that, which is a natural process, and then from there, after it makes this rooting galls, then you see roots coming out. So if you see this cutting in a month from now, you're going to see all kinds of little galls like this, all around it. And then in 2 months, you're going to see you're going to see very tender roots. And then by May, those roots become fibrous. By May, these cuttings are going to start blooming. That's when I start separating them. Okay? So that's what you want. Now, some people just do one per pot. I like to do a whole bunch. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, this is the easiest way of doing it. I don't use any root tone, and like I said, you can see that all these roses right here are from cuttings. Okay.
So Baldo, what do you
Yes.
call the little callus that forms before the roots come out?
Well, it's a galling or a callus. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from the callus, you start getting the roots
From the call-
start
yeah. Okay.
emerging.
Actual
from that.
roots start growing.
Yeah.
And
So you
when
gotta-
does that usually start to form?
the callus within a month's time.
Oh, okay.
But if you have a greenhouse
Mm-hmm.
and
I
you
don't.
have the right conditions,
Uh-huh.
you know, you have misters and everything, you can have calluses forming in 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Bill DeBoer
Uh-huh.
tells me that he can get something rooted in less than a month. And he uses just 2 buds.
In
what
the
he
dirt.
does-
Okay.
See, there's a bud here and there's a bud here.
Yeah.
So he just kind of cuts there, and then they use two bud cuttings.
So how much in the dirt?
They just put one. and
Oh
one
my
out, one
gosh.
up.
Amazing.
And then what he does is that he covers everything.
Oh, like a greenhouse.
No, what he does, he puts all his cuttings like this, and then he encloses them in total darkness, and then he puts all that stuff in the greenhouse for what, about a week or so, and then he uncovers this, and then about a week they start callousing.
Amazing.
So that something about the darkness
Yeah.
increases the calluses.
Okay.
So anyway, I've been over to Bill DeBoer's place several times. In fact, I took the society there, about 2005. I took the society there on a field trip, and we had a ball
I
because
bet.
he explained everything to us. And then he said, "Okay, everybody, you can have 2 roses. Go through it." Everybody loved it.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's one way that I do my cuttings. The other way, when you want to do a rose tree, and this would be an example of a small rose tree. What you want to do, I'm just going to demonstrate this, okay?
Rose tree, that's be so fun.
You don't want the cutting like this, okay, from the base. You want one that starts from there. And then what I do is I go through and I take the buds off. And you do this whatever length of the width you want. You know, if you're making a tree, you can make a 3-foot tree or a 4-foot tree or a 5-foot tree, or even larger. But you have to do this. If you don't do this, then our shoots are going to come out. What I did here is that I'm preparing these ones for budding. I'm going to put buds right in this area, right here. And then I gotta put the desired cultivar or this desired variety, so that I can have this, you know, I can get it from this rose. This variety of rootstock is called Fortuniana, and it's probably the best rootstock there is in North America to grow roses.
Could you say that again, please?
Fortuniana,
Fortuniana?
like fortune, Fortuniana. And it's difficult to get. I got my source from Dr. Malcolm Manners in Florida, and he sent me 7 plants because I was going to take them to Hawaii for a demonstration like this. And anyway, this Fortuniana plants that he sent me are virus-free.
Isn't that the plant that you have to have in, that's the rootstock you have to have in Florida
Yes.
for your roses?
Correct.
Because of the sand and
Correct.
all of
And
that.
the people in Hawaii were having the same problems
Oh,
as
okay.
Florida. They couldn't get the roses to take off. So I said, similar environments, you know. So I said, I talked to the consultant Rosarians over there, and they said, no, we don't grow anything in Fortuniana. Well, there was one lady that grew things in Fortuniana, but she was very rich. And to buy roses that are budded on Fortuniana, you're paying $40 by the time you get it home per rose, and they're real tiny. Anyway, so what I did is I got roses from Malcolm Manors, and then when I went to Hawaii. Then I found out that the problem that they were having, it was mainly culture problems. You know, they just didn't know how to grow roses. So I had to start from scratch. I did a CR school over there, 3 or 4 CR schools, and then basically concentrate on the basics of growing roses in hot weather. Roses do not like hot weather. You know, they like the colder climates. So anyway, I found that the Fortuniana was really not the problem. So I kept the Fortuniana. And anyway, so I plant them in the property. And anyway, then so these are all you know, virus-free Fortuniana. So I grow it, and as you can see, I grew a whole bunch of them, just in case I have to do something like just in case I have to do a workshop on propagation. And the best way to do cuttings of propagation of Fortuniana is to do either bud grafting or tea graft. Okay. For that, is required. Let me go and get a. No. No. Let me get something better. Let me get. This is your cyan wood, okay? This is a fantastic rose called Dancing Pink. This was one of Bob Martin's favorite floribundas, probably his favorite floribunda. See the little bud right there? It just looks like a little nose. Okay. So what you do, you know, I have a better knife for this. It's a budding knife. Very sharp. I'm trying not to cut myself. Okay.
So you're taking the bud.
See what I'm doing here?
All right.
See that? Okay. Just okay. See. Now what I learned from my friends that do this on a hobby basis, not professional basis. You keep it moist. Okay? And then, let me see, it's a little bit better. Then, okay. If I was going to do this, and I'm trying not to swallow. if I was going to do this in May, April, May, that's when the sap starts flowing. It's called slipping. Okay, that's when the bark slips. You can cut it and you can just go like that. Okay, so that's the best time of the year to do the tea grafting.
Is May?
April, May, you have to kind of experiment. In this area, April is when I've done it. Okay, and what I do is I go like this, and then I go like that in the form of a T. And then what I do is I slip the bud in there, and making sure that it's pointed the right way. Okay. So I always look for the little line underneath the bud, because that's where the leaf used to be. So let's try it. Not slipping. Okay. When that's the problem, then you do a slip bud. And that's when you go in there and you just do this to the
So are you putting those two cambium layers together?
yes,
Okay.
that's not good.
Yeah,
That's why
and
I'm
then
going
you
up.
tape it. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay. See? See? Okay?
So when you slip
Okay.
it, the little bud is going up. Okay. Remember that.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Then you take your bud, making sure it's up.
Hold it.
So if you swallow it, something's going to grow out the other way.
And what you try to do is you try to match the cambium layers.
Right.
Okay? We're not gonna need this anymore. I'm gonna need
So
some
you
tape.
don't wrap it with tape, you just tie it.
Hold on, you're getting ahead of me.
Is it?
Eager.
What do you want?
You're getting ahead of me.
Oh, that one. Oh, that
This one. This is
Okay.
a parafilm.
Oh yeah, that. I think I have some of that somewhere.
See?
Stretches.
Oh, that's
can
how
s-
you break it. Oh, good.
Well, you can. I was just showing you that stretches,
Okay.
and then you basically. Haven't done this in a year. I usually just cut a piece, and because it stretches, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to seal the moisture.
Do you cover, as you're seeing, do you cover up the
Yeah,
bud
you can,
itself?
but because I can't see what I'm doing, it's, generally I like to have this
Laying
Uh,
down.
so I don't have to deal with the lip of the.
Right.
But generally I like to see the little bud, kind of poke, and I kind of go around it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's slip budding when you do this, and you can do it any time of the year. Those people that went to Linda's workshop on climbers, I gave her a plant of Memorial Day that it was a slip bud, and we were over at UC Davis, and we were having a tour, and we saw this beautiful Memorial Day. It was a Memorial Day. Oh no, it was McCarthy Rose. the McCarthy rose. And we were smelling the roses and everything, and she loved this McCarthy rose. So I asked Mike, the manager, I said, can I have a bloom? He says, go for it. So I grabbed a stem, put in my bottle of water. I did a couple other things. Anyway, then I came back.
The secret.
Anyway, I came home and then I, did my budding, and a couple months later she said, well, did it take? I said, yes it did. And by that time I had a sprout like this long. And then I just cut the top. At that time, that's when I do it. I don't do it unless this thing takes. Okay?
Because you don't want the top to go.
Well, you want to make sure that the bud takes.
Right.
When the bud takes, then you can get rid of the top. I left some leaves here because I want this thing alive until I made my budding.
Well, Mike, a question, you hear a lot that when you're propagating, like strip the leaves off because you want to keep all of the energy going to the one spot too, right?
Yeah.
Is that a consideration here?
Yeah, once the bud takes, in 3 weeks, if see the beauty of a parafilm, even if you cover the bud, the parafilm dissolves and then lets the bud poke through.
I was wondering about that.
Okay? And then once in 3 weeks, you'll see that. Okay? If you don't see that, then you just kind of bud it again. And that's why you can go up and down until you have success. And I've been known to do, in a plant like this, I do 2 or 3 tries until I get it. But in Fortuniana, anything you bud to Fortuniana takes off. I have bought some plants from Fortuniana, and I had a Veterans Honor on Fortuniana, and then Veterans Honor on a regular Dr. Huey, and I put them in the ground at the same time, side by side, on my other property. Fortuniana just took off. It was just covered with blooms. The other one was struggling. And then eventually by the second year, it cut up. But the first year, Fortuniana just won hands down. And that's been my experience with the rootstock. And that's why I chose Fortuniana. Okay? Now, I keep 3 or 4 different varieties of rootstocks in my property. The other rootstock that I keep is called Pink Clouds, and that's for those of you that used to know Sequoia Nursery, Ralph Moore, who's considered the father of miniature roses. That was his preferred rootstock, Pink Clouds. Anything that he rooted on Pink Cloud, he would use them for trees, up to 5 feet. Anyway, so that, and then I have a Rosa multiflora. That's the one that they use in the East Coast, because Rosa multiflora can survive in Canada unprotected. So that's what they use in Florida, because they want something that's cold hardy. So I have Rosa multiflora too, and then let's see, I have another one that I have in the front, but I'm not sure what that one is. It's a European variety, but I have to figure out which one it is. So if some of you are interested in rootstocks, let me know and I'll give you some plants of that. Or you can birthday cuttings and try your luck. Okay? At this time of the year is when I start a lot of cuttings of Fortuniana because you know, I like to have them because I like if I go to a rose show and I see something I really want to have it, I ask permission from the exhibitor and then I bring it home and I bud it onto something. And in a regular stem you can have several buds. And you can see I have several plants over there and I can try it. Or I can take the cutting. I can take cuttings. And again, you try your luck. So you know, sometimes I do it both ways. The beauty about, well, one thing about propagation is you have to try both because some roses don't root very easily. Some roses don't bud very easily. So if you really want the rose, you have to learn how to do it every which way so you can be successful. So anyway, I show you how to if you really want to learn how to do tea budding, come back in April, May, and we'll do a hands-on thing on tea budding. If you want to try your luck on slip budding, then you can do that. Now, grafting. When the heck is grafting? Okay, this is a grafting tool. Okay, and basically, you put the
Oh, yeah.
see?
What does it do?
Wow.
Makes a
And
little
then you,
fork.
this is your cyan, and you go in there into the garden, get some cyan, some variety that you want, and then you go like this. But you have to match the cambium layers. You have to match the stems, the thickness of the stems. Then once you do that, then you take your little tape, and again, you have to do it just a little piece like this. Where is it?
You did it so well.
That's exactly.
I did so well.
Learning from the master.
And I did it backwards too. But in some, you can do it there, okay? But let's do something. I'm trying to match the
The diameter.
Where do you find that tool, Baldo?
Amazon.
Oh, okay. Of course.
You can find anything in Amazon. And then again, you want to make sure that you're in this case I want this way.
Boy, this is gonna open
You can do this on fruit trees too.
Yeah, well, I have a
Or avocados.
blood orange that one branch died off,
Yeah.
and that was the only blood orange, and now I'm stuck with this lemon that's trying to be an orange.
I think I didn't do it right
I want
here.
an
It's too,
avocado
too
for our climate.
I'll have to experiment. The rootstock looks great, but long fruits coming out of it.
Keep damn it! It's not okay, got it. Yeah, perfect this time.
Can that be done without the tool?
Yes, but it's more difficult because you have to go like this.
You do it with scissors or a sharp knife?
Sharp knife, very sharp knife. You have to kind of watch yourself because you can cut yourself very easily. There are some tools that they include. They can use. You can use some. Can you hold it? No, no.
So those leaves are below the cut.
Yeah, but I'll cut that one.
Does it matter which way the point is versus the either way?
Grow upside down.
Again, you want to seal it so that you have. The important thing is to match the xylem, the green part.
So will that be disease-free now, that new plant?
Well, depends on. I know that the rootstock is disease-free. Whether the floribunda is disease-free is a different story. So if we get a pattern on the leaves, then we know that
It's not.
it wasn't. Okay. So there.
Cool.
So that's.
Fascinating.
So we demonstrated various techniques. This one is like the cheapest I seen it was like 25.
Not bad.
Yeah, but you can use it numerous times.
That would be a good Valentine present.
Yes, it would. Thank you.
So you're going shopping for all of us, huh?
Okay, so if you have any particular requests for some cuttings or something like that, I have 1,000 varieties out there. You're welcome to take some cuttings from the way I show you. You can take numerous cuttings. All the miniatures haven't been pruned. A lot of the old garden roses have not been pruned. A lot of floribundas have not been pruned. A word about a legal warning is that don't take cuttings from patent roses because the hybridizers would like to make some money. The patent is for 21 years or 20 years. I have a little booklet that shows you whether the variety is patent, but most of the varieties that I have are not patent. So just ask me if that is a protected variety, and I'll let you know that it's protected or not. On the label, like this is the Spirit, and it has a PPAF, Plant Patents Applied For. Okay, that's what it means. That means that the hybridizer has probably 3 years to get a patent. If in those 3 years they don't get a patent, then too bad. They're not going to give a patent because they think, but they put this just so that to prevent people from taking cuttings. But again, to really find out if this is protected, you look it up. And one way you can look it up is you go to the website called helpmefind.com, put the name Easy Spirit, and it will tell you if it has a patent or not, and it will give you the number of the patent. If it doesn't have the patent, and it was introduced more than 3 years ago, most likely it's not going to get a patent. Okay? So just be careful about that. You know, I wouldn't do it on new roses. I don't do it on roses that are hybridized by friends of mine, because I respect their work. But most roses are not patent protected. So, and you can go to my garden, and I would say 95% of my roses are not patent protected.